Okay, so 10 o'clock. Welcome to the second, however, it is our first community call for GraphLinq. I'm very excited to be finally doing this. Last week, I certainly slept through doing it. And also really was kind of waiting for the official announcement of my changing role here at GraphLinq to go through. And I was hoping that that would have been announced by then, and it wasn't. So now that it is announced, it gives me the opportunity to comment on things, being the fact that now they are under my official umbrella. So the first thing that I just want to address is that Nicholas will be staying on at GraphLinq as an advisor. He's not leaving or going anywhere. He is just stepping back from handling the day-to-day operations of everything. So that is going to fall to me, and he will still be available, and he will be a advisor to the project. I mean, obviously he is a co-founder of the project, so he's not going anywhere, but he has decided that he kind of just wants to take a little bit of a back seat role for right now, and that is I can't comment on what that is about, in terms of what he's got going on, but it's just where he's at in his life with things, and he would love to continue to keep being CTO on a full-time basis, but can't with where he's at right now. So that is why I am going to step into that role. And at the end of the day, he is the founder of the project more than anything. So he will still remain on and be an advisor to the project, and especially an advisor to me as I ramp up in this role. That was kind of a big part of what the last couple of weeks was getting myself situated with taking some of this stuff over. As I'm sure you can imagine, I had a little bit of stuff to to learn where it is and how it operates on the back end. It's just, that's how it works. I'm sorry, I'm so tired. So that's that status with that. So, like I said, he'll still be around, and but day-to-day operations are going to be what I'm going to be doing as my role. The next thing that I'm sure that everyone wants to dive into, and then everyone's going to just jump off of the stream, is about the proof of stake migration. So proof of stake migration, one of the things that you guys need to understand about the proof of stake migration is that the goal of it is not just to move to a proof of stake consensus model and move off of the Ethereum blockchain. There's a lot of bigger reasons for that whole migration, and the main big reason for it is that the GraphLinq engine, the code that drives the back end of how GraphLinq works, will be distributed across the nodes that people will run to secure the network. So the reason for that is that it makes the protocol, the GraphLinq protocol, fully decentralized. We've seen other chains go through this as well, where they start off in a more centralized configuration and then slowly migrate to allowing the holders of the network to become nodes and transition to a point where the original the original company, whoever it is, the original chain that started it is no longer the one who is running all of the nodes and securing the network, and it becomes fully decentralized. So a big part of that goal is to move into that next level of becoming a fully decentralized platform. And yes, we get off of Ethereum, and that is has its own advantages. And so the biggest things with that is going to be that we are working on that. And in terms of the timing with that, it has been my decision and my first official decision as CTO to so one of the things that it's important to understand, besides the fact that what proof of stake really means, so that is the engine is going to be running through that, and staking rewards will be distributed for those who are helping secure and run the network. That is the proof of stake model that most proof of stake chains use, is that they're rewarding the nodes on the network for being online, for maintaining a good connection, and basically, our chain will be no different. It will have the same, I think they call it a slashing mechanism. I always can't remember the exact term for that, but the idea is that if you do run a node and then your node is offline half of the time, you obviously don't deserve the same rewards as anybody who has been running a node and who is online 24 hours a day with their nodes. So that model going into that is going to affect how the current staking rewards get distributed, is because the goal is to move it through the whole proof of stake chain, so that you're incentivized to support the network. Right now, the staking model as it is just offering a percentage to those who were here first. That has always been the goal of the current staking model. Was, in the beginning, we offered an introductory rate, which was extremely high for those who got here first. And now that rate has come down to something a little closer to normal, the next move is to move into the proof of stake error, if you will, of GraphLinq. So, with that all said, so then my first decision after taking over as CEO is to, we need to get a better release of information. It seems like no one is being on the same page in terms of, the chat just constantly seems like everyone's confused as to what's happening and the information is not getting out there. So I have made an effort to start posting on my blog, and I will post on the official Twitter as well, a little more information on a consistent basis, so we do know what is going on as a community, and how these changes affect us. So I've taken that under my official role to do that, and it's coming along. It's one of those things that gets there. Um, and the second, I guess, or I don't even know what number we're on now, but I would like to see a rollout of the new blockchain happen in a good way, in terms of the fact that giving people time to make what changes are going to need to be made, and to be able to help test and get on that. And with the transition to my new role, I don't think that the timing is right to try to do that by the end of this year. Now, that's not to say that we haven't gotten to a position where we're ready to go with it, but you do have to remember that there is millions of dollars worth of value on our network, and moving it over to a network that has not had a chance to go out to a few members in the community, personally, I don't think is a good idea. And so I have pushed to, in the beginning of the year, start the rollout to getting some testing going, and from there, in the first quarter of 2021, have the actual migration to the new network. I think that is a smarter way to do it than literally waiting until the third week in December to announce and say, here's what you have to do, guys. This is everything. And then there's a lot of people who aren't aware of what the changes are. We saw that happen with the initial staking, where the information wasn't communicated well and people were upset. And I just don't want that to happen again. So I think by moving this into a little slower release, not that we're behind in any capacity that should be worrying. It's more about just doing this right. I feel like we have had some opportunities that could have gone better for the project, and I think that the community was upset about how things rolled out. And as now being the person who is in charge of that, I really don't want to see that happen. And so the goal is that in January we will start doing some testing with the community. We on our end are very close to being able to do that, but you have to understand is that if we were just doing proof of stake, and that was all that this this new migration was, we could have released that a month ago, 2 months ago. We could have released that when we had, started getting, the announcements about it. But the model is more than just a proof of stake chain. It is to run the engine on. And being the fact that, we do have a working platform that graphs are running on right now, we need to make sure that that's done correctly, and not only that, but we have to handle how future updates are being pushed out through this model, and also internally we're gonna have to probably run some nodes up front to have the migration happen, and then have a schedule of how we're going to take a back seat to moving towards you guys taking over the network and it being actual decentralized. and none of that information has been communicated. And again, I think trying to do that in the next what is it, December 20th, 19th, try to do that in the next 10 days, with the holidays here for some people and the new year, I think is just a recipe for disaster. And that's my opinion. So if you guys are looking for someone to blame as to why this is being delayed, you can blame me. I'm taking full blame for this as my first official role, move, whatever you want to call it, as CTO. I think it's the right thing to do. I think that we have an opportunity to do something amazing, and rushing it just to get it out by an arbitrary date is probably not a good idea when there are people who have money invested in this and aren't going to be aware of the changes as they come out. So the goal is to start doing this in the beginning of the year and communicate out a more written out official timeline and how it affects everyone. How, running a node and how getting your stake into the node and doing the whole procedure. None of that information has been released. And I think that as someone who is in the chat 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, I would be much happier to be in a situation where this information has been properly communicated and that we've all had a chance to contribute to and test if we wanted to test and see whatever it is that we wanted to do to be able to be a full part of that. And I think that like I said, if we wanted to, we could release the proof of stake. It is not something that is that major of a change. And also another thing too with that is that it also is it also requires a communication to be in sync with all of the exchanges as well, because they are going to have to move over to our model as well. And trying to do that by the end of the year has turned out to be a little more difficult with the holidays and with the new year of getting that done with all of the exchanges. So that also has kind of led to my decision to start the actual rollout at the beginning of the year, in terms of us moving into the final testing and moving forward with getting the exchanges to be where they need to be. Because at the end of the day, we have no control over what they do. So I'm going to leave it at that for the questions regarding the new blockchain. But the major takeaways are, now that I am in the position that I am going to make sure that we are better communicating out the timeline and how that's going to affect people and what you will need to do. Also, eventually we'll start getting some information about the rewards for those who are going to be interested in running a node. Additionally, I think I may help people set up nodes who are interested, especially if you have a decent amount of GraphLinq. You'll definitely be in a good position to be a node operator. So one of the questions that was in is what percentage of blockchain completion, what percentage, I'm guessing that was a question towards moving to the proof of stake. So like I said, we are in a very good position where we are with getting it done. It's just there are things that are going to make the rollout a little difficult to do quickly, and we're to blame for some of that in terms of not communicating stuff out effectively. My role has changed now, so now that I have more of a vocal say in things. I have the ability to control this better. So in terms of that percentage, like I said, I mean, if we wanted to roll out with just proof of stake, we could have rolled that out months ago. And if we wanted to roll out by the end of the year, we could get it done. We're at that point right now in terms of that. I just believe that the better way to do that is to handle this migration better, and do this with some communication going on, and also having the exchanges in sync for what is going to be taking place. So again, this will start in the beginning of next year, which is a few weeks away. And at that point, we will get to the point where we start communicating out and getting some internal people, some of you guys to help with running some nodes and actually running the engine in a distributed way. The engine is what drives GraphLinq. That's why it's called the engine. And switching that from being in a centralized model that it is now into a decentralized running across a blockchain with proof of stake is no small task. There's a lot that goes into that. And, at the end of the day, getting that done and, not having to flip the switch and undo it or deal with downtime. I just think that I don't want to be pulling my hair out for the next 2 weeks, moving into the new year, trying to make that happen over the holidays. I just think that it's a bad idea. So you all can blame me for the delay. I'm fine with that. What are GraphLinq's plans for the multiverse? We are partnered with a gaming token who you guys are aware of. So that is going to be our first step as GraphLinq moving into the gaming section. But in terms of the multiverse, there's been a lot of talk with the idea of having the ability to do things with inside of the multiverse, and do them without having to write code, and do them in a non-code way that we do everything else. So we definitely want to do something with the multiverse. Another thing too that I actually did want to mention too is that we have right now about 3 or so, about 2 or 3 partnerships who, we do need to do the integration before we can announce them. And that also is on our plate as well. So moving forward with not only the blockchain, but also getting these integrations done so that we can announce some new partnerships is on our plate as well. And to that end, I think that I will be looking for hiring somebody to help. I think that we need some more developers on. We do have Alex who's starting up, who's going to help with the documentation and writing ways to make understanding the platform easier. But I think that we also do need to look at using some of the budget towards getting some developers, or at least one to more developer on to help with some of this stuff. So that'll probably come more in the new year. But so it says, could you give us a hint about partnerships that are upcoming? I mean, the most I can say is that we do have at least 2, it might be 3, it's probably closer to 3, that are already done. The only thing that is waiting is having the full integration, and they're ready to announce. So in terms of that, we have partnerships that are already agreed on and are signed. It's just a matter of getting our end. And again, we're trying to juggle both continuing to upgrade the platform and the move to proof of stake, which is you know we need to continue to keep upgrading. We have partners who do want to get onto the platform, and I will say that if you look in the IDE, you may get hints about who some of those people could be sometimes. Will you marry me? Maybe, depends. Let me see the ring first. Who is our target user? What is the plan for adoption? So the target user that we are going to go after is going to be the people who are the graph creators, the people who are the ones who can create stuff that end up in the marketplace. So I'm reaching out to people who I have known and are prominent developers in the blockchain space. Especially there are some who are working on platforms that are based on a like no code or a low code design, or they are like a GitHub repository that allows you to rapidly deploy blockchain applications. I've mentioned some of these people before in chat, and I'm speaking with them as well. So I think that getting some of those people to build on top of this, the whole model has always been to bring in the developers, bring in the people who can create graphs. We can put them on the marketplace, and then the people who understand the platform but don't necessarily want to create graphs can then utilize those graphs that other people have created. That kind of has always been the whole model, and the target is that it's targeted really towards trying to get the devs, but it's also at the same time targeted to getting something released so that the average person who is not creating graphs themselves can be able to utilize the graphs. That was the point of the marketplace. That was the point of the app wizard in the app. So with those things in place now, the plan moving forward is revolving around better documentation, even as devs and as people who are super able to figure out these things on their own. Having good documentation is a must, and that is where Alex, who I worked on getting to be a part of the team, and his role is going to be looking at the platform as a normal user. Alex is not a coder. Alex doesn't write code. Alex, his main goal is to give us the perspective of someone who is looking at GraphLinq for the first time, who has not used the platform, and who is not our developer level coder, non-coder I should say, no coder, using the platform and being able to create something that he's able to do on our platform, and us being able to give the documentation so that somebody can do that on their own. And we don't have that yet. That is the reason why things have moved a little bit slower, is because I again believe that if we go ahead and go crazy with spending money on advertising and get people into the platform, and then they can't use the platform because the basic things like good documentation and videos don't exist, that's going to be a waste of money. So the reason why Alex is helping out is because that is going to be our main goal. Working with Alex is going to be creating documentation, creating videos, things like just how to create a botfather token. That is the kind of thing that there are some people who can't do. And when someone hears that they can run a bot and not have to be writing code to be able to do it, and they can't figure out that first step, that becomes a frustration point where it makes it seem like the whole platform is difficult to use. And not only do we need to create that documentation, those videos, but at each stage when you're in the platform, the links to that information and those videos need to be available next to every single place where we ask for that information. So when you're in the app and the app is asking for the token address of something, we need to be able to say, what is a token address? Most people coming are going to know this kind of stuff, but we aren't very clear about what all of those things are and how to get that information from the blockchains that are out there and get them into GraphLinq. I feel like there's too many instances where in order to create a graph, you have to go and open another window to get some of this information. And I would like to see all of that be able to be done inside of our IDE or our app. So a great example is getting CoinGecko names. I've found a way to get that out of their API, and my goal is to make it so that instead of having to type in the name of the token, make that in a drop down so that you can't select the wrong one. These are things that if we don't have those kinds of things in place, the average user is going to hit snags on and become frustrated with, and our goal is to not have people be frustrated. Let's see what else we got. So that was adoption. I don't know what offline triggers have you got in the pipeline? I don't really know what that means. How can you have an offline trigger? How would it get triggered? If someone can explain that to me, I will answer it. If not, I'll save it for 2 weeks from now. Documentation needs help. I already addressed that one. And a roadmap for 2022. So as a roadmap for 2022, that is going to be something that is now under my responsibility to get going. So again, I have taken on a lot of responsibility in the past couple of weeks, and one of the things I need to do as well is get a roadmap going. I should say get a roadmap going in terms of getting it finalized to get out there. And also, I would like to look at finding an additional developer to help with the platform as well. You guys don't see, but we do have other developers that are behind the scenes. If you look through our GitHub repo, you can even see that there's other people besides myself and Frederick and Nicholas who have done code commits. But I'm looking to possibly hire somebody as well who would work directly with me on a regular basis for some of the changes and stuff that's coming up. So I think that is all the questions. Let me see if there's anything in the chat. I'm a Python dev and couldn't deploy a single graph. Looking forward to that documentation. Yeah, I don't care, what language and how great you are at programming. We all need documentation, especially since you're a Python developer. I'm sure you understand. I work with Python as well, and if it wasn't for documentation, there are so many things I wouldn't be able to figure out how to do. So not only getting that documentation, but also getting it so that it is accessible in an easy way. There's documentation that's been created and videos that have been created, but again, having to leave the platform to go get that information is not really the best way to do it. I would like to see it where that information is inside of the app, it's inside of the IDE, and hovering over an input or an output would give you some of that information. And then if you need to, there's a link to more documentation. That is one of the main goals that Alex and I are working on. Thank you. I appreciate that. because anybody who doesn't think that documentation is important, and thinks that, you know, developers can just figure this stuff out, I hate to break it to you, but developers actually do read the documentation more than the tech people. You know, non-tech people are the type of people who get something from IKEA and then try to set it up themselves. And believe it or not, the developers are actually the people who understand that somebody did take the time to write documentation for a reason. You might as well at least glance over it. And if you're stuck on something, the documentation is there to help you. So as a developer myself, you know, I would like to see that better documentation as well. But also writing that documentation from the point of view of somebody who is not a tech person is really difficult for me, because there are so many terms that we use in GraphLinq. We talk about, you know, variables. When you talk to another coder, what a variable is a very common term to just, you know, mention a variable and how to use it. But to somebody who is not a programmer, they don't know what a variable is and how to define a variable and then use a variable in programming. So these are the kind of things that we are going to really help define better, so that people who are both, you know, full developers using the platform, and also who are, you know, the average guy who is just looking to try the platform out, is able to, you know, get that same experience and not feel like they're being left without all the information that we could possibly provide them. I just realized that it seems like my chat in Twitch was not working, so let me just see if there's anything in here. Hi to you, Alex. I did not realize you were there, buddy. I can share my screen. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Here, small camera laptop. Oh, that's not what I want. Small camera monitor. Look, my chat, completely empty. I don't know what's going on. Stream chat, empty. And then you go over here into this, and there's the whole chat going on Twitch's website. So I don't know what happened there. I wasn't getting any of that chat for some reason. So I apologize. I wasn't ignoring you. Hey, yo, RCTO. Yeah, our Charles. Just remember that I am our Charles. The Italian Cardano CTO. So yeah. Those are the big takeaways. So look forward to more information being released on a regular basis. That's something too that Alex is going to be helping with, is helping to, you know, and I'm not blind or deaf, whichever one you want to call it when people are chatting. You know, we need to release better updates on our Twitter. We need to you know, do all of these things. I'm in the chat. I pay attention to the things that people are asking for. We're going to do that now that I'm in the position to start making that happen. So obviously this video and my blog and everything else that has been starting to happen was the basis to begin doing what I feel like we should be doing going forward. But we clearly need to do more and can do more. So that's where Alex is going to help out with that. And I have stepped in to do what I can do with that. So we are coming up on 40 minutes past the hour. So that is a good amount of time to consider wrapping this up. So if there's any other questions that people have, you can throw them out there. If not, I'm sure there'll be questions left over from people who get to see this chat on the replay. which it'll be available on YouTube and on Twitch for a little bit before they get rid of it. And what I would like to see is for this chat to then continue again in 2 weeks so that we can continue this conversation and work towards releasing this information properly. As of right now, we are not doing the best job on that, and that is something that I would like to see change for the community, for myself, and in terms of what we do and how we do it. So I hope you all stick with us, and thank you to all of you for your kind words about me stepping into my new role. I appreciate that. I'm very excited, and I have a lot of work to do, and I plan on getting our communication level to a better place so that you guys know what we're doing and don't think that I'm just hanging out in chat, shooting the breeze with all of you guys. We are super busy on this end, and lots of good things are coming. So to recap, partnerships are in the works. They're already inked. It is just a matter of now integrating them into the platform, and then official announcements can be made. So that is a done deal with at least 2 or 3. I want to say 3. It's just off the top of my head. I can't remember, but it's definitely 2. But I believe it's 3 that are ready to go. And we will begin slowly communicating out the proper information about the blockchain in the beginning of the new year. And, make sure that no one gets left out in the cold with not getting information in a timely manner. So, you guys don't have to hang around in the chat 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, worried about us making a change to the platform, and then you have no idea what happened. I really don't want to see us as a community go through that again. I think that we can do better. I'm not saying that anyone has done anything bad in the past. It's just, this has been a learning experience for all of us. As much as, we thought how things would go and we thought things through, that it doesn't always work that way. So I'm looking forward to a new year and stepping up our game, and I don't know, maybe reconsidering not doing these calls on a Sunday at 10 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast, because I am in a hoodie. I would have liked to have been properly dressed to address you all as the new CTO, but this is who I am, so you might as well enjoy the real me who is sipping coffee with you on a Sunday morning. Now back to work, and now on NPR. All right, I'm going to wrap this stream up. I appreciate everybody who stopped in and was here. I appreciate you if you're catching it on the replay. And I hope that this starts to answer some of the questions that people in the chat are asking. And if not, we're going to do this again in 2 weeks. And I will be putting out blog posts and official information and posting on the official Twitter, which I have full access to now as well. So, I'm going to continue to keep trying to do all the things that you guys have been asking for in the chat, and we will hopefully have an awesome 2022. And let's call it a stream, and let's do this again in 2 weeks. 45 minutes is a good number. Y'all take care, enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I will be seeing y'all soon.